Before this video ends, you may completely change the way you respond to difficult people. Forever, because somewhere in the next 24 hours, someone will challenge your patience, question your value, or try to pull you into a battle you never asked for. Most people lose these moments before they even realize a battle has begun. Not because they are weak, not because they lack intelligence, but because they react before they think. They allow another person's words to dictate their emotions. They surrender control of their inner world without even noticing it. But there is another way to life, a way discovered centuries ago by men who faced war betrayal, criticism, loss, and unimaginable pressure without losing themselves. They understood something that most people never learn. True power is not the ability to control others. True power is the ability to control yourself. Think about the last time someone upset you. Maybe it was a rude comment. Maybe it was criticism. Maybe it was a moment when someone doubted you, underestimated you, or made you feel small. What happened after all, chances are the conversation ended, but it continued inside your mind. Hours later, you were still replaying it, still thinking about what you should have said, still carrying the weight of a moment that had already passed. This is how most people live. They become prisoners of events that no longer exist. They allow a few seconds of discomfort to steal hours of peace. Yet the wisest thinkers in history believe this suffering was unnecessary. They believe the real problem was not what happened. The real problem was an attachment to what happened. Imagine carrying a glass of water. First, it feels light. You barely notice the weight. Hold it for a minute and it becomes uncomfortable. Hold it for an hour and your arm begins to ache. Hold it all day and the pain becomes unbearable. The weight of the glass never changes. What changes was how long you chose to carry it. The same is true for insults, criticism, disappointments, and mistakes. The longer you carry them, the heavier they become. Most people spend years carrying moments that should have been released in minutes. The strongest individuals understand that peace is not something given to them by the world. This is something they create within themselves. They refuse to allow external events to determine their internal state. They understand that every day presents a choice. You can either become a servant to circumstances or become the master of your response. One path leads to frustration. The other leads to freedom. There is something remarkable that happens. When you stop reacting to everything, you begin to see clearly. You notice how many conflicts are fueled not by facts, but by emotions. You notice how many arguments continue because neither person is listening. You notice how often people are fighting battles that exist only inside their own means. And once you see this, you can never unsee it. You begin to recognize that most negativity has nothing to do with you. It is simply another person's struggle being projected outward. Consider the person who constantly criticizes others. At first glance, they appear confident. They appear powerful, but look closer. Truly confident people rarely need to tear others down. Truly secure people do not spend their time searching for flaws in everyone around them. Constant criticism often reveals inner insecurity. It reveals dissatisfaction. It reveals a battle-tackling plus beneath the surface. When you understand this, criticism loses much of its power. Do stop tackling every negative comment personally. Do begin seeing it as information rather than an attack. This does not mean you become passive. It does not mean you allow people to mistreat you. It means you become intentional. Do stop responding from emotion and start responding from wisdom. There is a massive difference between the two. Emotional reactions are immediate. Wise responses are deliberate. Emotional reactions create problems. Wise responses solve them. One of the greatest skills you can develop is the ability to pause. Not for an hour, not for a day. Just for a moment. A single pause can change everything. That tiny space between stimulus and response is where your freedom exists. In that space, you decide who you will be. In that space, you choose whether anger will control you or whether reason will guide you. In that space, your character is revealed. Most people believe strength looks aggressive. They imagine strength as dominance, loudness, or force, but real strength is often quiet. Real strength is remaining calm when chaos surrounds you. Real strength is maintaining dignity when others lose fears. Real strength is refusing to become the very thing you dislike in someone else. Look around at the world today. People are constantly being encouraged to react. React to headlines, react to comments. React to opinions, react immediately and loudly. Get. The constant demand for reaction has created a culture of a caution. Everyone is speaking, few are thinking. Everyone is responding, few are reflecting. The result is a society figured with noise but lacking wisdom. Wisdom requires distance, it requires patience. It requires the courage to slow down when everyone else is rushing. This is why thoughtful people often appear different. They do not feel the need to prove themselves in every conversation. They do not feel compelled to win every argument. They understand that being right and being at peace are not always the same thing sometimes. Protecting your peace is more valuable than proving your point. There will always be people who misunderstand you. There will always be people who judge you based on incomplete information. There will always be people who create stories about who you are without ever truly knowing you. If your happiness depends on correcting every misunderstanding, you will spend your life a coaster. At some point, you must become comfortable, allowing people to think whatever they choose. Their opinions belong to them. Your peace belongs to you. The moment you stop seeking approval from everyone, something extraordinary happens. Do begin to discover your authentic self. Do stop shopping your identity around other people's expectations. Do stop measuring your worth through their reactions. Do stop treating external validation as a necessity. And when that happens, confidence emerges naturally. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe confidence means believing you are better than others. In reality, confidence means being comfortable with who you are, regardless of what others think. It means understanding that your value does not increase when someone praises you, and does not decrease when someone criticizes you. Your value remains constant. The opinions around you simply fluctuate. Life becomes simpler when you understand this. Do stop chasing every compliment. Do stop fearing every criticism. Do stop following strangers to determine your emotional state. Instead, you focus on living according to principles. Do focus on becoming a better person than you were yesterday. Do focus on actions rather than appearances. Every day offers opportunities to practice this mindset. The impatient driver, the rude customer, the negative coworker, the friend who disappoints you, the unexpected setback. These moments are not interruptions to your growth. They are your growth. They are opportunities to strengthen. Qualities that cannot be developed under perfect conditions. Patience requires difficulty. Courage requires fear. Wisdom requires challenges. Without obstacles, these qualities remain theoretical. Many people spend years waiting for life to become easier. They tell themselves they will be happy when circumstances improve, when they earn more money, when they receive more recognition, when other people finally understand them. But happiness built on conditions is fragile. Because conditions constantly change, true stability comes from developing an inner foundation, strong enough to withstand external uncertainty. The most respected individuals throughout history share one characteristic: they understood that life is unpredictable. Instead of demanding certainty, they developed resilience. Instead of demanding comfort, they cultivated strength. Instead of demanding control over everything, they mastered control over themselves. And that is where real transformation begins. Not when the world changes, not when other people change, but when you change your relationship with the world, when you stop expecting perfection from imperfect people, when you stop expecting certainty from an uncertain life, when you stop expecting permanent comfort. In a constantly changing reality, the person you are becoming is shaped by what you repeatedly practice. If you practice anger, anger becomes your habit. If you practice resentment, resentment becomes your nature. If you practice patience, patience becomes your strength. Every day you are training your mind, whether you realize it or not. The question is not whether training is occurring. The question is what you are training yourself to become. And perhaps the most liberating realization of all is this: no one can truly take your peace without your participation. They can speak, they can criticize, they can judge, they can misunderstand, but only you can decide whether to set things, gain access to your inner world. That decision remains yours. It always has been, it always will be. The next time life presents you with a difficult moment, remember this: you do not need to react immediately. You do not need to prove yourself. You do not need to win every battle. Sometimes the greatest victory is remaining centered. While everything around you is trying to pull you away from yourself, Sometimes the strongest response is compulsory. Sometimes the most powerful statement is silence, and sometimes the greatest act of wisdom is simply refusing to surrender your place. As you continue through life, you begin to notice something interesting. The people who appear the calmest are not the people with the easiest lives. They are often the people who have faced the greatest difficulties. They have simply learned something that others have not. They have learned that circumstances do not automatically create suffering. Resistance creates suffering. The more you fight reality, the more accosted you become. The more you accept reality and focus on what can actually be done, the stronger you become. Every challenge contains two parts. There is the event itself, and then there is your interpretation of the event. Most people spend their energy fighting the first part, even when it cannot be changed. Wise people focus on the second part, because that is where their power exists. A setback can become a lesson. A failure can become preparation. A disappointment can become redirection. The event remains the same, but the meaning changes completely. Think about how many things once seemed devastating, but eventually became blessings in disguise. At the time, you could not see it. At the time, the experience felt unfair. Yet months or years later, you recognized that the challenge taught you something valuable. It made you stronger, wiser, more patient, or more resilient. This is why mature people do not rush to label every difficulty as bad. They understand that today's obstacle may become tomorrow's advantage. There is a tendency in modern life to seek comfort above all else. People want comfortable conversations, comfortable relationships, comfortable careers, and comfortable experiences. Yet growth rarely happens inside comfort. Growth happens when you are challenged. Growth happens when you are forced to adapt. Growth happens when life demands more from you than you thought you could give. The strongest trees are not tossed protected from every storm. The strongest trees are tossed that survive countless storms and develop deeper roots because of them. Human beings are no different. Every difficulty you overcome becomes evidence of your capability. Every challenge you survive becomes proof that you are stronger than you once ever lived. This is why self-respect matters more than external approval. Approval can disappear overnight. Popularity can change in an instant. Public opinion is unpredictable, but self-respect is will through your actions. It grows every time you keep your word. It grows every time you choose integrity over convenience. It grows every time you act according to your values, despite the pressure to do otherwise. Many people spend years trying to impress others. While neglecting the relationship they have with themselves, they seek admiration from strangers, but struggle to respect the person staring back at them in the mirror. Yet no amount of external praise can compensate for a lack of inner respect. Eventually, you must become someone whose approval matters to you. The quality of your life is often determined by the quality of your thoughts. Negative thinking does not only affect emotions, it affects decisions, it affects relationships, it affects opportunities. When you constantly expect the worst, you begin acting that stuff. The worst is inevitable. Do hesitate when action is required. Do doubt yourself when confidence is necessary. Do create limitations that exist nowhere except inside your own mind. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to become trapped by destructive thinking. It means recognizing difficulties without surrendering to them. It means acknowledging challenges while maintaining faith in your ability to handle them. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they need to feel confident before taking action. In reality, confidence often comes after action. Courage comes first to move forward despite uncertainty. Do act despite fear. Do take the first step, despite not knowing exactly how everything will unfold. Then through experience, confidence begins to grow. The future has a way of rewarding those who remain consistent. Not perfect, consistent, small efforts repeated daily often create extraordinary results over time. A single workout may not transform your body. A single book may not transform your mind. A single conversation may not transform your relationships, but repeated over months and years, these actions create remarkable change. Patience is difficult because human beings naturally want immediate results. We want progress now. We want success now. We want answers now. Yet nature operates differently. Please grow slowly. Seasons change gradually. The info transformation takes time. The same principle applies to personal growth. The qualities that matter most cannot be rushed. There will be moments when progress feels invisible, moments when your efforts seem pointless, moments when you question whether your discipline is making any difference. These moments are critical because they reveal whether your commitment depends on results or principles. Anyone can stay motivated when success is obvious. Real character appears when success remains uncertain. Life also teaches an important lesson about control. The more desperately you try to control everything, the more anxiety you create. You cannot control every outcome. You cannot control every opinion. You cannot control every circumstance. But you can control your preparation. You can control your effort. You can control your attitude. Focusing on these things creates a sense of stability that external events cannot easily destroy. Many people carry unnecessary burdens. They worry about conversations that have not happened. They fear problems that may never occur. They replay mistakes that cannot be changed. In doing so, they sacrifice the present moment for imagined future and completed pasts. Get the present moment is the only place where action is possible. It is the only place where life actually exists. Gratitude becomes powerful when you realize this. Gratitude shifts attention away from what is missing and toward what is already present. It does not eliminate ambition. It does not prevent improvement. It simply prevents dissatisfaction from becoming your default state. A grateful person can still pursue goals while appreciating what already exists. Relationships also become healthier when approached with wisdom. People are imperfect. They will disappoint you. They will misunderstand you. They will make mistakes. Expecting perfection from human beings guarantees frustration. Learning to accept imperfection while maintaining healthy standards creates balance. Do stop demanding the impossible while still protecting what matters. One day you will realize that some battles were never worth fighting. Some arguments accomplished nothing. Some worries solved nothing. Some fears never became reality, and you will wonder how much energy was wasted on things that never truly deserved it. The sooner this realization arrives, the more peaceful life becomes. Success itself is often misunderstood. Many assume success is measured by possessions, status, or recognition. Get history is. Forget with wealthy people who wear miserable, and ordinary people who wear deeply full. Forget external achievement matters, but inner stability matters more without inner stability. Success becomes another source of pressure rather than satisfaction. The person who masters themselves possesses something incredibly rare. They do not depend entirely on circumstances. For happiness, they do not require constant validation to feel valuable. They do not collapse every time life becomes difficult. Instead, they develop an inner foundation, capable of supporting them through both success and failure. As the years pass, you may discover that wisdom is not about knowing more. It is often about needing less approval, less drama, less comparison, less unnecessary conflict, less attachment to things outside your control. With each burden released, life becomes lighter. With each expectation abandoned, peace becomes easier to find. Imagine living with the confidence that no matter what happens, you will find a way forward. Not because life will always be easy, not because challenges will disappear, but because you trust your ability to face whatever arrives. That kind of confidence cannot be purchased. It cannot be borrowed. It can only be built through experience, discipline, and self-mastery. The world will continue to change. People will continue to have opinions. Unexpected events will continue to occur. None of these realities are likely to disappear. The question is not whether life will challenge you. The question is how you will meet those challenges. Will you react automatically, or will you respond intentionally? Will you allow circumstances to control you, or will you maintain control of yourself? Every day offers another opportunity to answer these questions. Every conversation, every setback, every victory, and every disappointment becomes part of your training. Little by little, choice by choice, you shape the person you are becoming.